Now, how hard is it to save and invest 800 grand? How hard do you think it is to accumulate that money? It's not easy. We can agree, right? This person has been diligently investing and saving their money for many years. Do you really want to be losing or taking risk when you're this old? 62 or older? 65, 67, 69, 70? So watch this. I just told you that in order to have an income of $2,726.66 would require a 4% withdrawal on $818,000. Now, watch this. But with an annuity for 350 grand, we have a guaranteed withdrawal rate of a little over 7%. So a 3% increase on a guaranteed basis on only $350,000, which ends up being $2,085.50. Look how close we got to $2,726.66. Less money, far less, and so close in terms of income stream, liquidating the assets. So that's the power of an annuity, what an annuity can do for your portfolio. So it's not a matter of, is the annuity better than the IRA? No, that's not what we're doing. They're two separate purposes. The annuity is providing insurance on the IRA, and then it allows this person's investments to keep growing without what? Distributing income. So now at 818, right? Watch this, divided by or minus 350,000, we've got 468,000 left in that IRA. And if we turn the money, because what we did was we took the 152 of the 818 that was sitting in cash and bonds, we put that in annuity, and we took more that was sitting in lower volatility vehicles inside of it and pushed it into this guaranteed location, kept the rest of the money in the 468. We're not going to withdraw any income from it. We can actually make this 468, we can actually make it more aggressive. We could put it all in the S&P, buy an index, and maybe earn a quote-unquote higher rate of return. And we can let that money defer, I don't know, 5, 7 plus years before even touching that. Watch this. I'm going to share my screen, take you to a compound interest calculator real quick. So we're going to do 468,000 initial, 62 years old. Let's see what 8 years of growth looks like at 7%, no contribution. Look at that. Money almost doubles, right? So it grows to 804, and we took 350 at 62 and recovered it 8 years later without touching it. Pretty powerful. So coming back, you say, oh wow. So when you pair financial vehicles together, it actually expands the portfolio. So now this person doesn't have to stress about, I need to make more money. It's about, how do I maximize efficiency, preserve, expand, multiply the dollars I already have so that I can show up more powerfully and do what it is I've been called to do. Simple as that, right? Well, not as simple, right? Because it takes a lot of time to put all this together and run the math. It's simple when you explain it, right? And I show it to you. But the amount of work that this client and I are doing together, the amount of phone calls, the amount of hours that we're putting in, studying, learning, yeah, you know, not easy in that sense. But how cool is it that we'll, in this scenario, that we're going to be able to retire early and actually have a plan and have certainty this person's money is going to last them. Okay. So far, we've identified 2 opportunities to create income. We've got the 2,140 and the annuities. I explained that part. The next move that we as a team, client, myself, Daniel, coming together and making suggestions and guidance is we say, okay, what would it look like if we paid off your house? What would be the strategy to pay off your house, pay off these rentals? Because these are debt obligations. If we really look at the person's cost of living, right, the $7,000 447.74 number minus 2,242 is their primary mortgage. Really, they got about 5,200 worth of expenses, right? And again, that number is going to go up a little bit, okay? So what we were looking at is, what if he sold the rental property and whatever it sold for could pay off the mortgage, and it removes the stress of collecting rent, covering maintenance, expenses, fees, filing, right? The risk of losing a tenant in retirement, having to deal with that, that could be quite a bit. That could be quite daunting. So according to some of the math here that we put together, let me make sure I'm just looking at this right. We have a single family in a townhome. Total value, about 600 grand, I think, if I'm reading my numbers correctly. I'll have to verify it. But if we could sell this rental, yes, we lose the income, right? But this was only cash flowing 333. So it's essentially a headache for the person. And it's a whole nother state as well compared to where they're at now. And it's really just not it doesn't align with this, solving this. So if they sold it, they'd have profit. They'd be able to dump that in the home, pay that off, reduces obligation, and there's going to be additional capital, cash, that could probably get dumped into the cash on hand right here. Still doesn't solve for enough income yet, right? All we did so far is at 62, turn on Social Security, turn on 2 annuities, pay off debt, eliminate obligations, eliminate mortgages, and then